When you go up against Team Liquid, you know that you're in for an awful lot of fun. Team Liquid are also a very good team when it comes to Border.
So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into these bans here. Team Liquid will be starting on attack, and that means that Immortals gets the first ban. They're going to get rid of Lion. Based on recent results, I can understand why Immortals got so little out of the community vote. They have been getting pummeled a little bit, pushed around, and their standings reflect that. Thatcher going to be banned yet again. Jeez, what is with this Thatcher hate going on?
I don't know, but his pick rate is going to continue to climb, or his ban rate, rather.
His influence rate. We can call it his influence rate, yeah? That makes sense? I mean, total overall getting rid of or playing... It looks like yeah, he'll get banned for another match day. I wonder if we'll see him all of the matches today. Echo's been banned, which means Mira needs to be banned next. That is, of course, the agreement that was signed by everyone everywhere. But it's actually be Clash. Cool. It's a little bit of a change. It's not an actual agreement, by the way. We'll see something different, something interesting, and that means Mira is in play for Border, which is. This is actually one of those maps where Mira has a huge influence still and can be brought without taking any unnecessary risks. So what I mean by that is if you place your Miras correctly, you can actually, take the risk of losing them without crippling your defense. Because on a lot of sites, on a lot of maps, people will bring Mira, but if the Miras get popped, then it will end up costing you the round. Not so here on the majority of Border, but she is actually going to stay unpicked for this first round.
The typical, we don't ban Mira, but then we don't play with her because she doesn't get banned, etc.
It's people, a lot of teams don't practice with her anymore, man.
Etc.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, well, we'll start up on Armory upstairs in the most commonly defended site when it comes to Border. Mira being available will make a customs defense easier too. So the third site that will likely be played, which a lot of teams as of late have been doing over on the Bathroom Archive side, well, you can defend customs a lot easier if there's a Mira window up top. Some teams will use a Mira strategy along with a Frost, playing inside of monitors / security.
Yeah, Frost could be useful actually when playing in CCTV or security or monitors, because there's a lot of vaults that are going to force you to look down, and you can gain an advantage in the actual ensuing gunfight. Like if you're playing by the desk inside of CCTV, playing a hard angle, and you have a Frost trap on your window, that can offer you a lot of freedom of movement, because if anyone wants to vault and pre-fire you, then they're going to have to look down or risk being downed themselves. However, it's of course not going to... It could be shot from elsewhere. So anyway. No Frost coming out this round. Basic Armory setup. No Mira, despite her being unbanned. A little bit of an odd choice there from Immortals. They're going to be bringing a Maestro, which is going to be standard considering the Echo is banned. Not a lot of soft destruction. So there's no vertical play here from Immortals based on their setup. They could put someone downstairs and use the shotgun from Navi's to prep the site and then just play it through those angles, but no C4 unless PX is carrying one. But he's going to be playing inside of an office.
There's no ADS situated in that area. Very easy for Paulo to just drop a frag grenade right on his head.
And he's not.
But there's none for the time being. Now, keep in mind, with Thatcher being banned, we're going to see an awful lot of the same. What's going to happen, it's going to take quite a bit of time for teams to drone, and then they'll have to get the Maverick just to poke away in place of a Thatcher.
So what I'm gathering right now from the Latin American region is that they have decided to force Thatcher out in order to force Maverick in and make Maverick tricking a staple of any kind of hard destruction whatsoever. It seems to be the only way that they want to let anyone open up a hard wall is by Maverick opening it, and that makes sense as a strategy. There's so much hard denial in the Bandit, in the Kaid, and in the Mute available to defenders that, yeah, okay, it makes sense as a strategy, but it's a very interesting way of playing around that hard destruction.
Cyber's got a very interesting poke hole here inside of security. Looking in towards the break room, the staff area. He's also got a long barrel on the Jaeger, so I'd imagine that he's probably not going to be playing as close range as you'd expect. The only downside to having a Maverick required for Maverick tricking is that it tends to slow down the pace of the attackers and gives us a rush in the final 20 to 30 seconds, which is absolute mayhem, and we appear to be in that same position right now, as there's 40 seconds to go and everybody is still alive. Liquid's focus has primarily been on that office wall, and whether they've been able to open it up is a mystery to us, at least for the time being. We've got Palu situated over, trying to maybe take out the Evil Eye camera, but he's going to be pushed off by a toxic canister at the right time. So Navi's being able to save a piece of utility for the rest of his team. Still, the frag grenade will go in, and Palu might be able to take out the Evil Eye. A second toxic canister will go down, and Liquid is being confronted at every turn. Finally, we'll see a smoke bolt go down, and amidst the smoke, Moringa will get downed. I don't know if Navi's is aware of that. He'll ping, get Sexy Cake in the process. Palu will have to vault on in, but PX is there, and Immortals have every answer for the time being. A second down, collect your kills, Navi's, if you can. He won't get them in time. PSK gets finished off, but Immortals holding out, and well, I would say, with Thatcher being banned, Maverick being a requirement here, we're likely going to see a lopsided amount of Defender round victories on Border, and all of them utilizing the full 3 minutes.
This whole forcing Maverick as your, in a way, your sole hard destructor, because the Thermite and Habana get countered by your other, well, your denial ops. That whole kind of thing, it seems a bit forced, and also something that's not necessary on some maps. Like on Clubhouse, I can see it. On Border, there's so many ways to deny the denial. Like, okay, there's a Kayut Electroclaw on your wall, or there's a Mute Jammer, or there's a Bandit Battery on triple wall inside of Office. Well, what do? You clear the ADS, and then you grenade it from the hole above it. Like, I mean, you just open up the door, you just go into East Stairs, there's a giant gap where you can throw a grenade. Done. You don't have to Maverick trick that wall. It's unnecessary. And it's going to waste some time as well as a lot of your utility, because you have to use soft destruction to open up the wall after you trick it. Again, on Clubhouse, I get it on some of those locations. But why triple wall on Office in Border? Why is that a thing? It doesn't seem like you have to practice that. It did end up costing a lot of time for Team Liquid. Following that, their attack onto Archives was a little bit of, again, it was a bottleneck situation, which we are seeing be commonplace for most attacking teams right now over the last 2 matches. It just seems like every time they've got 2-3 people stacked up on one lane, and they get mowed down trying to push that lane because it's predictable. And if part of it is the hard destruction. That's a really great reactive shot there from Palu. His bullet goes down, early man advantage to Team Liquid, despite the information being in favor of Bullet. Obviously, as a Valkyrie came out here somewhere.
And he's going to take the amount of time to try and find it. Harder to do without an IQ, who had was in the top 5, actually, at pick rate. We've seen scarce play from IQs so far, at least on Clubhouse, and now here on Border, that trend line will continue. Nomad was, I think, the 3rd most banned attacker, 4th most banned attacker.
Yeah, she gets banned a lot because...
depending on the maps that are played, right? Like on maps like Consulate, for example, you're going to see teams run her.
But it allows you to be more aggressive as a defender when you ban the Nomad, so a lot of teams will get rid of her.
This is a good site as well for her, because you're used to having somebody possibly jump out of ventilation up top. You could have somebody possibly run out the front door.
Are we seeing this in other... Because I've only really seen it be that prevalent in Latin America, to my recollection.
With the whole Maverick situation?
Yeah, the Force Maverick situation by the Thatcher ban. It's like the Thatcher ban has become like just this... I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but the Thatcher ban we've seen for 2 of our matches today, and the Maverick tricking being the sole way to get through walls, according to the attackers, has been pretty much the same story. I don't know, it's weird. You don't... Sexy Cake is going to take down Cyber. It's a really good pick there by half wall. So Liquid are really putting kills on the board here. But those are all off-site kills. And as I was trying to say, you don't actually need to Maverick trick that wall, because you could just Zofia under it and then shoot the Electroclaw. I mean,
the same thing is happening, though, as before. There's been a couple early picks here. But at the same time, the time it takes for Maverick to be able to finesse open a wall, etc., it's going to eat up a lot of time. Navi's is not going to be able to get the secure onto what appeared to be Palu. Actually, no, he will. Right as he gets taken down by PSK, so...
Effectively trade.
Not the most advantageous play, but still the advantage for Liquid will hold with 30 seconds left. It's a 4v2 that favor the attackers. So a good answer back from Immortals, being able to take the very first round. MKing is going to be pushed off and excised for the time being. Nesk finds PX, and it'll be all on the shoulders of MKing now. He'll get sprayed through the wall, or from behind rather, as PSK had rushed on in, and Team Liquid will take round number 2 off of a situation where a restless Immortals team didn't really know what they looked like they wanted to do.
Okay, so the Maverick tricking thing. You know, take a step back, try to think about it. I suppose it makes sense in that you can... I'm a little bit skeptical about the time commitment because it does take more time, that's clear. But the thing that it allows you to do, I suppose, and this is true, is that you can, instead of bringing like a Zofia or an Ashe, you can bring other things like a Capitao or a Nomad. So, in a way, sensible, sure, but also you could just bring a Buck instead of a Sledge. You know, there are other options. It's just a very curious thing, and I like to see it brought out. It's different, so at least there's that. And also is always cool to see really proficient Mavericks being played, as we have seen so far through this day.
I mean, you see teams that aren't really the most practiced with Maverick come out, and they struggle to get hatches, they struggle to get walls, etc. And I am actually interested that it's Thatcher that gets banned and not Maverick, because a lot of teams, at least in other regions, tend to ban Maverick over Thatcher. But I mean, Thatcher has the highest ban rate of any attacker. It was, what, 81%, I believe it was? Somewhere in that region, in the upper echelons of the 80s, the 70s, 80s, 90s. And he's been banned in both of the matchups so far. Now, mind you, it was Capitao and Lion who have also joined him. And Capitao is not a particularly surprising operator. He's been ran by Liquid all 3 rounds so far. He's very strong. Whether you're running the Para or the M249, it really comes down to preference a lot of times.
The Lion's not so shocking either, as we've seen proven. He's still very powerful in his current state. Just makes you stand still. Can make you uncomfortable as a team defending.
Lion earlier today was a key part of why G2 was able to draw Empire. It was Uno utilizing the Lion, and in his hands, it kept the match close up against an Empire team that didn't really seem to be firing on all cylinders today. Both Dan and Joystick had pretty bad days by what most people would consider the expectations or standards of Empire. Anywho, it's a different region, and we're still looking at exactly what's going to happen here on a workshop ventilation defense. Mira has decided to show up in the hands of Cyber, and she's going to be played upstairs. Unsurprising, given the interest that teams always have in defending the armory when it's a ventilation workshop push. And that's exactly what it looks like it will have to be from Liquid at some point. It's inevitable that they will have to take that armory site because, well, it's very difficult for you to be able to pull anything off without it. Unless you happen to take Washroom and then push on in from there, which Liquid is somewhat stacking up for, so this could be a back take if Liquid decides to go all out.
Could be a pick here. Yeah, it will be. Palu, some patience on the angle. Interesting that it's Sledge coming through Passport, as he would be very valuable upstairs, but he's managed to get a pick, so right time, right place, and as Navi's goes down, that's a lot of denial over by Bathroom, just, nope, done away with. And Immortals are going to struggle with that Bathroom pressure. It's likely going to be a call for Liquid to heavy hit on Tellers into Bathroom, get control of Workshop and make that take happen. But they have to, as you said, take control of the top floor first, which they have now Maverick tricked and opened up with the Sledge. Next step, moving into Office and Archives to try and assert some control vertically over the site.
It takes a tiny bit of damage now as he can continue to press up to the Archives area and then go from there. Soft destruction, and he's just going to chip away at the walls with the L85. He's got tons of ammunition in reserve, so he doesn't need to worry too much about being too conservative with it. In fact, you got 160 plus bullets that are still available if you need it. But Liquid are taking their sweet time. Yet again, this is going to come down to the wire. The only person who's been removed from action has been Novi's. You know, there's one target inside of the small office. So Kaid will hit the deck. Waiting to see if Sexy K can spray on over him. PX is taking quite a bit of damage from the assault rifle. Cyber's migrated downstairs. He's got a suppressor on the Vector. That's not something you're used to seeing. Palu falls on Bullet, getting 2 kills. Takes down Nesk on the run out. So right now, a 3v3, but time very much favoring the defenders. They have hatch control. They can begin to push down. Sexy Cake doing good work onto MKing. You hear one defender get knocked down too as Bullet tries to go on in. Cyber finds Moringa, so it's going to be all up to Sexy Cake and PSK. Sexy Cake holding that diffuser will need to go for a plant, waiting the call. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. See if he can spot him from above, and it'll be Bullet with 3 kills. And the most impactful being the one at the very final seconds. Nobody from Team Liquid was able to keep control of that second floor, and it ended up being their undoing despite the air jab. Bullet's retake proves to give Immortals their second round, and they will regain the lead because of it.
So the expected back and forth coming out here through this match. The top 4 clear taking a lot of time. I wonder why. And because of that, following that top 4 clear, which was successful, all of the picks that Team Liquid managed to get ended up amounting to nothing because, well, they didn't fully clear the top floor. They did leave the Valkyrie upstairs. And why? So little time. They couldn't secure it. They couldn't establish those flank holds. When we go for the site take, they go for the diffuser plant, and, well, it's on 0-0-0. If that's not successful, round's over. And round was over. There you go. Done deal. A really great round there from Immortals to recover that. Thanks to Bullet. But, yeah, certainly a lot of that coming down to how much time initially was spent by Liquid just clearing out upstairs. That seems to be the story so far through today. And you know what else? There is a correlation. I don't know if there's a causation, but Thatcher's getting banned all these matches. Maverick tricking is the only way that teams are even trying to open up hard reinforced walls. So that might have something to do with it.
I think this is a very expected strategy.
Yeah, but
what?
Expected, sure. Yeah. But also limiting?
I guess it is very limiting. We've seen very linear play because of it, and most maps tend to shake out very similarly when this is the sort of thing that you see, right? And there might be a little bit of lethargy on behalf of the attackers, but I can guarantee you that these are not lethargic attacks, that these are just simply the way that things tend to play out when you have to spend as long as you can to drone, find gadgets, find utility, and then push from there. Keep in mind how powerful one singular EMP is. A singular EMP can take out countless bandit batteries, anywhere from 2, 3, possibly even 4. It can also disable an evil eye, it can take out a camera, possibly goo mines, anything that you really see that stands in its way. So Maverick has to be a bit more precise, and it's painstaking with how long it takes for him to accomplish the same thing that you can see out of a singular EMP. That frag grenade from Palu actually misses. I think he cooked it a little bit too little. No, there's a very free kill as M-King doesn't realize that the soft destruction that was created on the armory wall, with Moringa rappelling upside down, will be able to find it easily. And he's going to now look towards monitors to see if there's going to be somebody else playing in there. We can see from the silhouette that there is, but you don't know where he's positioned. Going to be able to push out the Mira here as one of the defenders will scamper. It's Bullet who'll take down Palu, though, so both teams will lose one. And it's, in fact, Bullet, not the Mira that's playing in there. Different silhouette. No, Mira's in there, too, so it's a party inside of monitors for the time being.
The movement here from Immortals actually going to work out in the end, thanks to Bullet's effort. He's going to use that Doc Stim pistol to get his teammate up, but it'll be short-lived. Sexy Cake is able to secure that kill inside a break room. The mirror window makes this hold quite a lot easier, but now without support, it's going to be difficult for Bullet to hold on to every single angle, every single point of access that Team Liquid has to CCTV. He's worried about the break room push, and here it is. He shuts down Sexy thanks to the mirror window, sees one vault in, but doesn't actually go for the shot. Will be forced to rotate down, though he does get away alive, and he is a doc, so he'll be able to heal himself back up. Still has 2 stims. Meanwhile, Team Liquid, with just gaining control of CCTV in a 2 versus 3, looking really desperate. And wow, a nice shot from Bullet, predicting PSK to peek over the railing, and he will. Comes up from behind an office. Moringa knows of his position, though, and he's going to get 2 of his own, leaving him in a 1 versus 1 with Navi's. 17 seconds left. It's definitely winnable, but he's going to have to go for the push really quick. There's little time, and it's obviously a smoke with gas canisters. With so little HP on Moringa, that could end up being the win out for Immortals. But what will much more likely be the win is if Navi's goes for the push right now. Here's the tic-tacking, and it's not even going to be a stick. Navi's wins it out with a shotgun blast. Nice pre-fire there from Moringa, but he doesn't get the shots where he needs them.
Didn't need to hit the full target there, but it looks like Navi's got all of him. Doesn't really matter what the HP of the Capitao was at that point. We saw that Moringa was sitting around 30 to 40, somewhere in that window. So even 2 shots from the SMG-11 will be enough to finish him off. It was the right call for Moringa to abandon the plant and take the fight, given that the timer was about to strike 0. It was either that or die on the plant and allow Immortals to disable anyway. Doesn't matter. It's another Armory defense here. Keep in mind that Workshop being locked forces another site. And, well, I had speculated that because Mira was on the board, we might see a customs defense. But a lot of teams have been favoring the Bathroom Teller site as of late, and that's exactly where Liquid is going, or Immortals, rather, is going to go.
Teller's pretty much the same as customs in the way that you defend it. It's all about vertical play, vertical play, vertical play. And if you can hold on to Office Archives for a decent chunk of time, then this is actually not that bad of a site to defend, though it is not easy to defend Office and Archives, as well as Fountain, outright. It can be very, very difficult to hold on to these locations. That's why you've seen Navi's being brought out there with the Bandit. Of course, you're going to have a lot of those ADSs stacked up by Navi's to try and assist this hold. You know, I think, yeah, okay, the denial is a big factor of why Thatcher gets banned, but I think also the ADSs are probably much more substantial of a factor, because you could see that Cyber's going to be placing his 2 ADSs down there, probably even 3. Yeah, he's going to place all 3 on triple wall to assist the Bandit tricking. Now, if there was a Thatcher, they would all just be deleted with 1 EMP. Gone. Done. Easy. As with the Bandit tricking would also be stopped. But because there's no Thatcher, that's not an option. And because the Twitch gets picked off there early on, that won't be an option. So Team Liquid have just lost a huge tool and will now need to rely much more heavily on Maverick. Great job there to Bullet with the run out, probably assisted by his camps.
And not only do you shut down the Twitch, but also Nesk. The moment Nesk falls, so do Team Liquid's prospects at winning a round. The team has quite a bit of depth, but it is still undeniable the effort that Nesk puts in and the effect that he can have even against the best opposition. And in this case, you're going to rely an awful lot on Sexy Cake to continue a lot of the killing that he has done, and Moringa too. So, yes, you're very right. Having a Thatcher would be integral in almost every single round, but here in particular, you can just throw it at the wall and not have to worry too much. In this case, it's going to be Sexy Cake to do the work. Trying to open it up, and it's pre-sledged, so the moment that this falls off, there goes the wall.
Definitely very dangerous to pre-sledge it, but, I mean, it's not necessarily any more dangerous than sledging it after it has been opened up on the hard destruction. Navi's trying to punish this Maverick, but...
this is interesting that they haven't opened it yet.
It's a mistake.
It should be open by now, so I'm actually very surprised. I'm not sure what they're going to need to do here. Cyber gets Palu, as Palu had entered all on his own, ill-advised. Immortals will continue their lead.
So yeah, this is actually a mistake from Sexy Cake. He missed a chunk of wall somewhere. Sometimes it can be really hard to pin down exactly where you need to open up.
But that just wasted 35, 40, 50 seconds, and now you also have to use the X-Karos pellets in a position that you wouldn't need to.
And all of this off of 1 ban on Thatcher.
Navi's knows there's somebody rotating as he sees the silhouette. He's prepared to catch the Maverick, but does he know that there's going to be a Capital there as well? Well, there's a soft wall he can shoot through. He'll take more damage than he does to Sexy Cake, at least through the wall. Sexy Cake will lick his wounds for the time being, with Moringa not too far off, and there you go. Moringa will grab him. A very good read from Liquid. You know, they have to go for the workshop, or the workshop area, the bathroom as well, castled off. They can't get in for the time being. They're very close to being able to walk right into B site, but translating it's going to be the problem. I don't think Moringa was understanding what was happening. He'll get gunned down from Bullet above. Well, looking for another just at the head of either PSK or Sexy Cake down below, who's crouched behind the half wall, just by the TV monitors. And Bullet will try to see if there's some high-profile viewing on. Sexy Cake falls as Cyber will pick up kill number 2 and PSK in a 1v4. Well, this is very difficult. He's not going to get past Bullet, the gatekeeper above. Will not let anybody on into Tellers. Come back later, we're on a lunch break, they say, and it's a 4-1 lead for Immortals right now.
Oh boy. Okay, so historically, Siege has always been a bit defender-sided. I mean, no, if you look far enough back, there have been some pockets of attacker-sidedness. But this Thatcher ban thing that we're seeing be prevalent in Latin America is, I mean, it affects both teams equally, which is the interesting thing. If you start on defense, you should have a decided advantage with Thatcher being banned out. The reason that they're leaning into it so heavily, the reason that teams are okay with it, because usually teams won't commit to, you know, bans that will cripple themselves as much as they will the enemy. The reason that that teams are leaning into it so heavily, and the reason that Liquid were the ones to ban it here, despite starting on attack, was because they have confidence in their Maverick tricking. That's why, and that's why it's become that's why it's become a thing in Latin America. It happened in the last match. It's happening here. In the last match, it makes a lot of sense. I've seen it a lot on Clubhouse. It was, in fact, I believe Maverick Tricking was born on Clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever the case, it is adversely affecting Liquid in a lot of different ways. In that last round, it cost Liquid the round flat out that they weren't able to open up the triple wall. And they weren't able to open up the triple wall because Sexy Cake messed up his Maverick trick. And it's not an easy thing to do. You know, usually it can be one little speckable, hard reinforced wall that connects to the middle bit, and then suddenly you can't open your wall. So it's not necessarily on Sexy Cake. It's not his fault, per se, as much as it is just relying on a mechanic that is really hard to execute perfectly every time.
If they say living well is the best revenge, then I guess against former teams, it's playing well is the best revenge. And in this case, Bullet is currently dropping a 10 bomb on his former squad through 5 rounds.
Knowing your old team definitely is a large benefit when you're playing against them.
I think so too, but I think we can't necessarily say that about this Liquid squad. I think they play very different from Bullet, and he's been able to adapt to what they bring and play quite effectively because of it.
There's a certain level of confidence, though, just like even if you know some of the of your opponents by being former teammates, you just feel right about playing against them.
Regardless of the strats, players have tendencies, and when you play with them for a long period of time, you know if they're the type of player who's going to immediately reaggress. You know if they're going to possibly try to fight you, if you know that they're going to enter solo, and, well, both Cyber as well as Bullet have done an exemplary job of catching various people off guard. Now, it appears that Liquid have been quite quick to the punch upstairs. With a minute on in, it looks like they're at least somewhat close to being able to put a hurt on as they're at the armory wall. And, well, look, Sexy Cake has been able to open up the top. Can he do the bottom as well?
He needs cover. He can Claymore himself. That's probably the smart thing to do.
He has to do it himself because Nesk is now peeled off, but repositioned himself so that he can see on through. And there you go. Look at that. Perfect. Easy enough. This time, make no mistake about it, Sexy Cake will be able to get that wall with, of course, that Maverick tricking, as we've called it.
I wonder why Liquid choose Sledge over Buck for this role of opening up the soft wall. It is more dangerous to go in there with the sledgehammer, but I mean, it hasn't been punished yet, so I suppose that's probably the thought process for Liquid, and they probably just prefer to bring that L85 over Buck's C8.
It could, yeah, it could be the L85. It's also the SMG-11. Keep that in mind. And
it's true.
Even when Buck was very prevalent in North America and Europe, Sledge was always the go-to favorite here, and it could just simply be personal preference. I mean,
it makes sense. And again, they haven't been punished for bringing Sledge yet.
And Nesk has been able to play Sledge quite effectively, and maybe in this case, Paulo just wants to use him more. But what has happened every single round is happening yet again. It's going to take an awful while for Liquid to find their footing. It seemed like they were quick to the punch, but it's 35 seconds, 30 seconds left. The only person who's taken any damage on either side, Nesk and then M-King. That's it. It's a 5v5. Shrouded in smoke, PX down below. He doesn't have a nitro cell, so he can't really do all that much. All the utilities coming out from Moringa as one smoke is going to go in, but then Paula just sprints into the site. He'll find Navi's, but 2 answered back. Bullet picks up 2 big kills. He'll find 12 on the round. He's prone from the hatch above. Diffuser is down and will need to be retrieved. Nesk walks in, shot down into the calves, and it's a triple kill for Bullet. Palu splatters all over M-King, looking to see if he can get Bullet. He will, but it's not enough time. There's nothing Palu can do. Even in a 1v1, the Diffuser is down, and man, the defense having such a go of it here as it's a 5-1 in favor of Immortals through the first half.
So, I mean, this is pretty much the same story of what we saw in Clubhouse, but the thing is we're not playing Clubhouse anymore. This is Border. Border is not supposed to go this way and not supposed to be so strongly defender-sided. It isn't a bit of an oddity. And here you can see Immortals, well, they won't be bringing the Maverick, at least not yet, unless they 6-pick into it. They're instead going to bring just a Twitch and a Thermite. I mean, this is a very different approach than what we saw from Liquid. I'll see if it works out any better for them. We have seen in the past borders where Thermite gets banned. In fact, one of the most influential bans early on when the ban phase first came out was onto Thermite, and it was on Border, and it was at the time it was SK, I believe, who did that, and now known as Dark Zero. So, I mean, yeah, you know, banning your Thermite could be big. Disabling the Thermite, though, by debanning the Thatcher seems to be much more influential, at least in this current meta, by what we've seen here today. The curious thing is going to be mainly, will the Thermite be influential given the denial opportunities that are in line for Team Liquid? But one thing that I just noticed, and I can't believe I overlooked this, there are no denial ops on Team Liquid. No hard destruction denial ops, not one. And they banned Thatcher.
The three, of course, being Kaid, Bandit, and Mute.
So, very odd that this would happen. I'm really intrigued. I want to know what Liquid is planning here. They clearly have a plan there's no way they just banned Thatcher for the heck of it. But them not bringing in any denial operators is definitely an oddity.
I mean, you just might think that it's a foregone conclusion if there's going to be a Maverick, but Immortals doesn't have a Maverick.
Yeah, they're bringing Thermite, so they're going to have free reign. They're going to be able to just open up anything they want nice and easy. And, you know, they get the Thermite hole as well. It's more efficient. It's larger. Yeah. So it's definitely a dream come true for Immortals. It's seemingly a dream come true, depending on what Liquid decides to do here.
There's frag grenades again in the Sledge's hand. Once again, no buck, so you can have Cyber just drop down a frag grenade onto Nesk's head, but it's not going to happen, as Nesk, I think, read into that correctly, and is that going out of there. He's going to have a rotate hole out of Fountain, too, and an interesting choice to open up one of the walls inside of Monitors and then one of the walls inside of Fountain, too. Because if you lose control of that as a defender, things can go bad in a hurry. You're giving a window right in to a very critical point of defense for the attackers there.
And look right there. As soon as Immortals want the wall open, it takes them 5 seconds to open it because there's no one to deny them. And, I mean, yeah, that's that. Team Liquid now have lost control of triple wall. That's going to hurt their hold inside of Office, which is going to allow Immortals to start on their Office push. Now, this Twitch is going to be able to take out the Evil Eyes because she's not distracted by Bandit Batteries or Kaid Electroclaws or Mute Jammers or anything like that. So she's going to be able to go straight for the Evil Eyes that Moringa have put up around the map. There is still a roam in CCTV from Liquid, which is huge, very important, because that roam can easily flank the Office hold if, you know, timed correctly. But first down here is actually be a Frost Mat. That's a little embarrassing if you're PX, but he'll get picked up. No punish coming out from Liquid. Either they didn't hear it or they don't feel like they can risk punishing that. Shot here from Nesk all the way from Fountain. He's going to take down PX. It's a really great early kill there, and that was actually the reason that kill was allowed to happen was because PX was on 20 HP because he got hit by a Frost Mat.
And early on, meaning just early on in the execute, because once again, 30 seconds left. The attackers will be quite sluggish just simply because of the bans. And the way this works out, a second kill from Nesk, once again utilizing those holes that were opened up by the smoke early on. He's going to get robbed to a kill that PSK will get. For the time being, looks close to flawless for Team Liquid. Nesk is down, but can't be capitalized, at least for the time being. Pauly will vault on out. Here's the track stingers going down, so he's going to be cut off to a certain extent. Doesn't see the head of M-King. It's a bit too far for Palu to see. The ACOG of M-King is going to do good work, but
no time.
You know, not able to do too much. Moringa sprays through the wall, and Liquid will win that one because Immortals were too slow to be able to get in. It's the second round victory for Team Liquid, and it comes in round number 7 on an Armory defense. And if the past is any indicator, then we're going to see a lot of defensive victories start to get themselves on the board.
So no hard destruction denial operators from Liquid, but they still managed to make that be a very slow round for the attacking team. I mean, maybe that just falls on the shoulders of Immortals. There were some curious decisions made there by Immortals. They seemed distracted by CC for a few seconds early in the round, and then they decided to rotate over to Office, but they opened up the Office wall at about 140, which is late, all things considered. Once that Office wall was opened up, they spent about 40 seconds just waiting for picks to walk into their crosshair, and, well, Liquid didn't do that. They just stayed inside, patiently. And, well, the waiting game will always favor the defenders. And so they managed to win it out on, again, a bit of a time-oriented win there for Team Liquid. It ended up being the frags, I guess, in the end. But at the same time, actually, no, it wasn't. It was pure time. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, that seems to be the story for today. We've seen a lot of slow rounds from the attacking teams caused by the operator bans, and I don't know, it's been intriguing. The last round, I can say, was heavily influenced by that Frost Mat. The second exothermic charge not going off on the Archives wall, huge. And it didn't go off because the Frost Mat put the Thermite to 20 HP, and it wasn't even a necessary, it didn't need to be a headshot. For Nesk, he just landed one bullet to the chest, and it was done.
No breach denial again, and no Maverick coming out for Immortals, so you basically don't have to worry about anything in particular. The only real change here is that...
Is this a passport rush, maybe?
It sure looks like that. They're off to the races, and they're basically in already. And hey, they've taken control. They catch Moringa looking, and the plant's already going down. There's Navi's to be able to collect another, as Cyber's going to continue to move on in. Plant almost going down, but Liquid will finally find their footing and be able to regain quite gracefully. 3 kills, 4 kills for Liquid, and it's 35 seconds in, and it's all M-King alone. And Liquid understand this. There was not enough coverage from Immortals, and a valiant effort, pardon the pun, but that's 3 for Team Liquid.
Well, it's a fast round.
The joke there is that Immortals has another team called the Los Angeles Valiant.
Yeah. I think you told me about that on a broadcast a while back.
Yeah, but I mean, I was saying it for the
okay.
The people.
There you go, people.
That's why I said pardon the pun.
And now they know.
Now they know.
More information, the more you know. So speaking of that last round, actually, it looked like it was going to go the way of Immortals. The rush was really well called. I have to say, that was a good opportunity. They overextended themselves. They definitely overextended themselves. Instead of trying to cover the plant, they were trying to retake, or well, not retake, but take both of the sites. And Customs is a big site. I don't know if you guys have noticed. It's actually a large open area, and you need to cover those angles. You need to cover the retake there from Liquid, but Immortals was spread too thin, lost too many fights, and, well, they couldn't hold to allow the plant to go down. If the plant had gone down there and maybe the wall by passport was opened up a little bit further by the thermite, then I think that could have been a very different story. Nice try from Immortals. Nice hold, better hold from Team Liquid. Then we'll go to ventilation now for their third site.
Yeah, I think, you know, you kind of jam up the gears by going to Customs, and Immortals knew how to handle that correctly. But with Workshop, things go back to the norm. Finally, we see some breach denial coming out in the Kaid of Sexy Cake here.
Look at that. We'll actually change into that. I mean, it's the right call. There is a Twitch being played every round by Navis, and I'm sure it's specifically to counter not only the Maestro, but also the Kaid Electroclaws. And Sexy Cake can be countered still by those Twitch drones. In fact, it's a much more hard counter than it would be to Bandit, for example, because there's there are less Electroclaws. One zap, you get rid of that whole wall electricity. But it's not as consistent, that's for sure, as a Thatcher. Thermite Thatcher combo. So we're waiting for the appropriate information to open up the hatch there in CCTV. Immortals being able to take CCTV so easily early on is going to be very good for them. They need to turn it into armory control, though. Of course, that's much more important. It's a flank watch being set up there by the track stingers from M-King. You can see the array he's put up there inside of CCTV, just trying to deny any late flanks. You usually see an air jab put up in those locations, but since it's not going to be Nomad, it'll be the Gridlock instead. It's a little bit different. Not a huge change, though. Nade's coming in to counter the Electroclaw, and a drone as well to call it out. The nade will miss, though, as the Electroclaw is likely placed high, and that's going to likely call for a Twitch drone, but those can be countered by pure bullets. Second nade misses as well from Cyber. That is unfortunate if you're Immortals, and now they are struggling with just one Electroclaw because they haven't brought a Maverick. So the game is being played well by Liquid here, and this is why they banned Thatcher.
So this, like, it was Santos Dexterity back on the old clubhouse that never brought a Thatcher ever, and people would just use mute on the dirt tunnel, so
yeah,
something that you'll have to learn from at some point. You finally get the armory wall open, and Liquid have fallen back to the point now where they are firmly protected inside of the site. Immortals are going to have to translate the success they just had on that second floor over towards the rest of the site on the main floor because it's 50 seconds left. Once again, nobody's dead, which is pretty commonplace for what we've seen between these teams. Still in the lead for Immortals, but it's been dissipating as we've continued to go on as the defense are uniquely positioned here. Navi spots the smoke and knows that there's one playing up on the desk and might actually be visible depending on the way that Navi's looks. Cyber falls, and Palu from above still has not been shaken out yet. Nope, Moringa is not in a position where Navi's is going to be able to see him. Doesn't know if there's going to be a body around server rack. He doesn't see PSK swinging around the corner. 15 seconds left, and Immortals are all but dead at this point. Yeah, some people on Team Liquid have taken quite a beating, but they still hold out quite an advantage. Bullet finds one kill. He's finally come alive. He picks up a second kill now, too. He needs to drop at some point. PX holds that diffuser, but he'll go nowhere. A trade out, but PX cannot find the very final kill. PSK will find that, and once again, it's the defenders on a day that has been the day of the defense. So far, they dominated match number 1 and number 2. It's going the exact same way. A lone attacker victory through 9 rounds in this contest.
And then if we're going to go ahead and do attacker victories through this whole match, it's been 3 today. Over map number 1, and this is now map number 2, 3 total attacker victories. Okay, so say what you will about how you choose to adjust into a Thatcher ban. All right, whether you're doing grenades, Sophia from below or above or something like that to try and counter the Electroclaw, the bandit batteries, the mute jammers, whatever it is. Say what you will about all that. What we can say, without question, is that Thatcher being banned greatly affects, at the very least, Latin American teams. It's definitely a hard part of their meta right now, and it's really, again, it's quite interesting, but it does make for the type of gameplay that is, I mean, it's the attackers losing to time every round. Because that last round, what happened is Immortals got stuck on the armory wall for so much time that when they eventually did manage to get it opened up, it didn't matter. Because the defenders just fell off. So, okay, why do you open armory wall on a ventilation take? So you can force the players in armory, the roamers in armory, the defenders in armory to fall back to site. However, if you open up that wall with like less than a minute left in the round, then the defenders are going to fall back of their own volition. Because why wouldn't they? There's not enough time for you to commit to a proper execute any longer. You aren't going to be able to use that vertical control for anything. So this Thatcher ban is put us into a corner when it comes to, or put the attackers rather into a corner, and created a kind of a system where, yeah, every round you get just very, very late attacks that end up not working because they don't have time to work. You just can't be very thorough as the attackers anymore. That's what we've been seeing today in these 2 matches.
I'm still surprised that Immortals just refuses to bring a Maverick as well.
Yeah, I mean, they refuse to bring Maverick. I mean, Maverick's going to be slow too, but it'll get the wall open faster than what we saw last round.
I mean, Liquid has realized this. Liquid realizes that you're not bringing a Thatcher ever. Okay, we'll just keep bringing the Kaid. We'll keep making it extremely difficult for you to be able to open up any of the ways into the site. You're going to take a lot of time. It's a slow bleed for the attackers. And there's room here for an Electroclaw trick. PX will get the exothermic charge down, but no. I don't think Sexy Cake is positioned to be able to take care of it, and there goes the wall into office.
So the Electroclaw, if you place it on the wall at the same time the exothermic charge gets placed, cannot deny the exothermic. The Electroclaw is slower than an exothermic, so much, much slower. You can usually get those Habana X-Caros, but the exothermic is going to be a good counter to a Kaid if it's not pre-placed. The grenade coming out of the army wall here, it will be successful this time. Properly cooked, properly placed by Cyber, and that is going to allow the armory wall to get opened up. So much more efficient round from Immortals, but if you guys will direct your attention to the timer real quick, you'll notice that there's almost, well, there's just a little bit over a minute left for Immortals to make this execution happen, and they have only just now opened up that armory wall. Still 5 men alive on Team Liquid, and, well, I mean, it's looking better for Immortals, that's for sure. They have managed to get the Evil Eye as well, so this is definitely the best attack we've seen from them so far. Whether or not it's going to work out is yet to be seen.
Liquid seems to be quite sequestered for the time being, and they're clustered up heavily. 4 bodies hugging the A bomb, just waiting patiently for Immortals to come on in. They know that they don't have a retreat available because of the gridlock that's in play, and those track stingers have been thrown down in the corridor, at which Liquid will not be able to traverse, at least for the time being. Bullet will try to scare them away by shooting out the window inside of Sandwich, and Liquid have fallen a little farther back, much deeper on in. He'll have to lob a C4 at some point, as you can hear PX go for the plant. Bait out the toss, but Nesk will miss. A characteristic and uncharacteristic miss. Bullet's head was just barely visible, as Nesk will miss most of those targets. Kaid can peek on out. PX looks like he'll be able to successfully get the diffuser down. As Navi's fells Moringa, PSK gets one, Sexy Cake another, and Liquid are able to do quite a bit of work after Immortals have gotten that diffuser down. It's a 3v3, and Liquid are quite beaten up for the time being, and they've got a bit of hesitation and patience here as they wait to see where the remaining members of Immortals are. One sits on top of the diffuser. PX doing good work. Same with Bullet Magnet. Sexy Cake takes the head off of PX. He walks into the Trax Stingers, and they do just enough damage.
Just the one.
Just the lone Stinger in the corpse. It's like stepping on a Lego or stubbing your toe right as you wake up and get out of bed. It would fell even the strongest of men. At least 1 point for Immortals. So at worst, they have a draw. And they manage to break this defensive streak that Liquid is on.
So, a total of 2 attacker wins for this match, and over the last 2 matches, which both have had I don't know why I keep saying Thermite when I keep trying to say Thatcher. But
I've been doing that all day.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. Anyway, we've seen 4 attacking wins. 4 over 2 matches. And the last match almost had all of the rounds played. This one, it looks like we're going to either get the same result or we'll go the distance, get that draw, or who knows? Maybe Immortals could put another attack win on here. It looks like they're setting up for a rush. They have brought a Finka. Definitely possible. There's an IQ being brought out. IQ is, again, IQ plus Zofia. Good way to hard counter not only the Mura windows, but also the potential Kaid Electro Claws. But once more, something that is so interesting to me, we have seen Team Liquid bring a total of 1 hard breach denial operator total through this whole defensive half for them. It's been Kaid. They brought it a few times, but they're not going to bring it here. They are the ones who banned Thatcher. I don't. It's weird. No more Twitch, though, for Immortals, which means those mirror windows will likely be a little bit safer, just ever so slightly, depending on how they choose to attack. Immortals could clear out the bottom floor and then, open up from below. It's definitely an option if that's what they want to commit to, but it takes a lot of time. And considering how slow these attacks have been, I seriously doubt that the Immortals are going to commit to a time-intensive thing like that. No denial because there's no reinforcements on the armory wall, so I guess that's the answer to the question.
Wait for the first Finka boost to be able to control some of this recoil with the Maestro here, just trying to peek away, and Navi's missing the shot by a hair. Could have possibly been able to punish Moringa here, who's got this wall opened up inside of Armory. He's just a pixel away from being able to see Navi's, but he's going to be scared off, at least for the time being. He might re-engage, crouched on down, and just narrowly dancing around it, as he will do. This is a fight to the death, and whoever gets lucky first is going to blow this one wide open for their team. All the while, Polly was still being hunted down inside of monitors. He was spotted and then pinged by the drone, giving his position away. That might have been a mistake. You might have just let him, not let him know that you knew his presence by that half wall inside of monitors.
You can see that Immortals really wants to take the win home. Obviously, that's true, as they have been very cautious on this attack, not taking too many risks. They have control of CCTV, which is a huge benefit to have. This is a well-known angle into Archives by Cyber, and he's got the bullets to make that angle happen. He's trying to peel away slowly at the soft wall. A very efficient round thus far from Immortals, considering what it's up against. Earlier today, just been some of the slower attacks we've seen outright.
Liquid have been so strong, though, at being able to push Immortals back when they at least get close to the site. We saw that in the customs rush that happened and how well Liquid were able to recover. And there's going to be the second Adrenal Surge going. To a point now where you could conceivably walk right into Archives. The Maestro dares for just a second, and slowly but surely the HP of Moringa is being chipped away at. There's still one Adrenal Surge left. Both frag grenades have been used, so all the ordnance in the hands of the Finka, it will be gone. Where do you go from here? Only 45 seconds left.
Definitely an HP advantage for Immortals right now. Those Adrenal Surges have been paying their dues in full, and they're looking to set up for default plant.
There's M-King to gun down Moringa. Track Stingers might be thrown out. Plant going down. It gets peeled off for the time being. PX will need to try to plant if he can, if possible. The mirror down below being spotted by Bullet. Palu comes out swinging and takes Bullet down. As all the smoke will try to cut off as much of the site as possible. Liquid inside a small office. They'll have to push on out at some point. They can hear the Track Stingers going, as well as the rattle of the LMG. PSK finds Navi's, but PX will be able to pull off the defuse quite successfully. Immediately pushed up, though, is going to be Nesk, as well as Sexy Cake, as they down PX, and Immortals will be in dire straits. A 4v2 favoring Liquid. Even though a bunch of Liquid teammates have all lost their HP, the resiliency of Immortals will have to shine. And so far, there's not a lot. It's a dull glow, and it'll be Liquid in the post-plant. Able to take out the members of Immortals, and we will need all 12 rounds to be able to settle this one between the teams, living up to our Match of the Day title. The denotation obviously working well for both of these teams. And to round 12 we go.
So the denial there from Team Liquid was not well placed, did not get rid of that planter. However, the retake from Liquid was well executed, and that's what's really important, is they managed to win it in the post-plant. As long as you can get rid of all your opponents, well, you could still win the round, even if that diffuser is planted. So well done to Liquid shifting their focus to that. A decently efficient attack strategy there from Immortals. They just came down to losing their fights. The utility that they were placing to cover the plant ended up working against them in those smoke grenades, as it did allow a little bit of a distraction, and Team Liquid used that to the fullest, retaking by half wall in the post plant, using that angle to their advantage. The retake by CCTV, while we didn't get to see it, turned out to be successful for Team Liquid as well, despite losing one player early on that attempted CCTV flank. Overall, Team Liquid aligning themselves up for a draw here as they go to customs on the last defense in the last round for this match. And, well, if last match and what we've seen so far in this match is any indication, then this will certainly be a draw. Because, wow, if one of these teams manages to win more than one attacking round, it just burn everything down.
I find it interesting that Liquid would opt to go back to customs, because it's very unlikely that Immortals is going to try to rush the same way. And given the fact that Liquid hadn't fully reinforced the back of the customs wall.
Passport wall?
Yeah, right where you see Moringa is, it's the wall that joins Passport to customs. You still have an opportunity to break it open, but there's no real soft destruction the same way. Cyber, who has been rotating through a wide variety of operators, is going to land on Ash. So I guess he has an opportunity to open that up. Navi's is going to be on Twitch, so there's lots of really good guns on the board when you also factor in IQ's commando. I'm assuming M. King is running the Saw. Yes, he is. There's a good debate as to whether the Saw or the AUG is a better choice for Gridlock. I think they're both pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't go wrong.
The AUG is a surprisingly strong weapon. I understand why you'd bring the M249 Saw, because the way that Gridlock is played, but it's really preference. Oh, no! Nesk was prepared and ready. There was that open Mira, and I don't understand if Cyber didn't think it would be there at all. So, very close to being a tie game right now with one body down, and a large chunk of HP from Navi's also absent.
Now, it was probably Navi's who opened that mirror window, so if that call didn't go out and Cyber didn't hear it, then that's a huge mistake there in terms of coordination on the side of Immortals. But that one kill alone, and then the damage that was done to Navi himself, actually might be the final nail in the coffin for Immortals. I mean, so to speak, they can't lose, but a draw is, as we've talked about, effectively a loss for both teams.
Yeah, especially Immortals, who only have 1 point, and the closest to them is Black Dragons, who have 4. A draw just barely closes that gap, and it would require a victory out of Immortals to be able to overtake any of those teams with 4 points at that current point in time. So Nesk is doing his best to just hold Armory. He's also got he's also got Paula above, Palu on Mira, just waiting patiently. They haven't been shaken off of their position on the second floor. So Immortals will likely just push straight for the first floor without realizing that they haven't been able to clear too many people out. Meanwhile, PSK gets felled and Navi's is down, so it's almost as close to a trade as you can get. Will there be capitalization on Navi's to put this into a 4v3 favor? Who have 4. A draw just barely closes that gap, and it would require a victory out of Immortals to be able to overtake any of those teams with 4 points at that current point in time. So Nesk is doing his best to just hold Armory. He's also got he's also got Paula above, Palu on Mira, just waiting patiently. They haven't been shaken off of their position on the second floor. So Immortals will likely just push straight for the first floor without realizing that they haven't been able to clear too many people out. Meanwhile, PSK gets felled and Navi's is down, so it's almost as close to a trade as you can get. Will there be capitalization on Navi's to put this into a 4v3 favoring Liquid? Who knows, but Nesk has been awoken from his slumber and he'll head towards the main stairs, trying to help the rest of his team.
Well, Navi's gets picked up, but on 20 HP, he's not going to be too much of an influence in this round unless he's landing some pretty insane shots and avoiding those goo traps. So little time here for Immortals and Team Liquid. They just need to wait. And they have the vertical control to boot, so on customs, this is going to be the easiest denial of their careers. Moringa, the anchor in sight, going to get 2 for his trouble there, shutting down Immortals, and with 2 players left against Team Liquid's 4, and only 15 seconds. It's looking rather desperate. PX, beautiful shot there on Inesk. M-King going to be pushing over by the Customs doorway, but this has been the death sentence for many of his teammates so far in this round, and it will be for him. Just PX now. He gets another for himself, and it's going to be Moringa. The final kill there, and a beautiful round overall. I believe a 4K as well. Nice hold there on Customs. We get a draw, 6-6.
Immortals once again being involved in a draw. You must have seen that one coming. But Team Liquid with the very final round victory. Well, it comes close. Look at that. 3 members of Liquid breaking double digits, and what a carry job from Bullets. 17 frags. But both teams just unable to edge each other out. Through 4 play days, Immortals have given up 10 points so far.
Yeah, it's not been a good one for Immortals. They've got now 2 draws and 2 losses, which is, I mean, no one expects that from Immortals.
I mean, if you already look at it right now, Nip got the victory today. They're sitting at 10 points. Immortals is at 2. Immortals need 3 victories while Nip needs 3 losses. And that's really tough to come by. And we say this every single season, is that when you look at the teams that finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, on a given season, they're usually only accumulating 2, 3, maybe 4 losses and a couple draws. So these points that you're leaving on the table are bad. And for Immortals, who will be present in Raleigh, look at a position right now where they might be presumably very close to out of the race for the, Season 10 finals in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a final that many people want to miss as well. Who doesn't want to go to Japan?
It's
but
our first Asian Pacific final.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for one, I'm pretty excited.
I'm super stoked.
Yeah, Asia's the only I haven't been there yet, and I always wanted to go to Japan, so.
We'll get there.
Ooh.
But that's our match of the day, Michael. 6-6 scoreline. So far, we have needed all but 1 round of our first 2 matchups, and then we have Red Devils versus INTZ next on the docket. But
I mean, the really interesting thing for me, just as a closing for what we've been seeing so far today through these 2 matches, is again it's the Thatcher ban and how influential it is, how much it's changing the way that these teams are playing, because it's just a totally different Siege right now, and it is interesting, but it's limited in its interest because these rounds are playing out the same way every time.
Well, we still got 2 more matches to go to see if there will be a Thatcher ban or not. But that's it. We got a break, and then we'll come back for match number 3.